Hi everyone, so as I mentioned, I'm going to proceed to show you a demo of one of the open source tools that we currently have on Pharmacometrics AI. We recently released this tool not too long ago, I think about maybe a week or two now. And the goal of this tool is to help you, it basically helps you improve efficiency in your plotting or table. Depends on what processes you're actually going through in your pharmacometrics analysis. But the cool thing about this app compared to say ChatGPT or Copilot and stuff is that this is going to write you code. It can let you edit the code on the fly, and automatically as you edit the code, it's going to execute, and you can see the output in terms of plots or in terms of tables. Now, that's the great thing is that you can actually write your own code. But in addition to that, you can use AI to generate the code completely, but it's going to execute so that if you need it to be changed in a certain way, you can either have AI change it or you can change it yourself and still have the execution done. So that's a short description of the app itself, but I can quickly show you the different components of the app. At the top here is where you prompt the AI. So you describe whatever you want to create or modify in the code. If you want to create something brand new, it's going to rewrite a new code for you, and the code is going to appear here. But if you want to modify the code already in your list, so that's it, you have a robust code that you already created. You could have AI modify it. You just tell it what to do, and it's going to modify that. So we can try an example of that shortly. But the idea is that once the AI creates the code for you, it's going to automatically execute it. And the output is going to be shown itself in the plot and the table, and so on. But also, in addition to that, we have the typography panel. So these buttons here help you to change the plot, to make edits to the plot without having to change the code itself. So you can just type in here, and that's going to change a plot. So for people who are not good with code, but they want to take your plot and edit it and modify it, you don't have to crop or do other stuff that people do these days with PowerPoint. You could simply bring the code in here. It's going to plot it for you, and then you can make the edit just from this right panel here. And you can change the title, you can change the different axes as needed. You can also change the theme if you wanted to do that. One more thing that this does is allows you to upload data sets. So you could upload a data set. Again, the data set is not being transferred to our server. It's all in your browser here. Upload the data set, and you can tell AI to use that data set to create you a plot that you mean to create. So it's going to leverage that data set, and it's going to create you whatever you need. We also have this button that lets you use preview chart. So once you click on it, it's going to populate the code with code depending on whatever preview chart you select, and then it's going to execute that code on the fly, and you can see the plot or the table associated with that. We also have this button that lets you monitor what's going on in the R terminal. So I forgot to mention this, but the code that is generated is an R code. So only R codes have been generated in this panel. We have other apps that you can use to explore, not just R code, but also Python code in our repository there at Pharmacometrics AI. Now that I've shown you exactly what happens, now that I've told you exactly the layout of the app and the different features, I'm going to go on to give you an example. The first example that I'm going to share with you is the example about you having your own code. So let's say we have our own code. We paste it right there, and we can make edits as needed, but I'm not going to make edits for the ink AI in the interest of time. But you can take that code essentially. So what this code simply does is it uses this function to create you a non-mem styled data set for a potential to compartment, model data for patients. And after creating that, then he's going to use the create data set to create plots for you. Now, I'm only having it here print the plots, but in addition to that, we can also have it print the table. So I can show you an example of that, right when I finish this. But the cool thing about this, again, as I have emphasized previously, is that once I save, it's going to execute that code. And it's going to execute the code, and you're going to see it in real time. So once I save, it's going to execute the code, and you're going to see it in real time. So you see, it's executing the code, and there you have the plots. Now, in that code, I've asked it to make 3 plots. So you can see there are 3 plots in there. You can go back and forth between the different plots that you want. So you have concentration time plot, or by treatment, and then you have by patients, and also you have a spaghetti plot there by patients. So it lets you do all of that just by pasting the code and saving the file. Like I said, with the AI, automatically it's going to create the code, it's going to save it, and it's going to execute it. But in this case now, as I was trying to indicate to you, I have this code. I could still change it, right? And see the execution I want. So let's say I want to make this. So let's say I want to make by semi-log, right? Because it helps you tell which of the models that this data could probably fit in. So let's say we want to do that. We want to make this semi-log. I can simply come to the plot, the code in the plot, and I'm gonna go all the way down. And right before we print it, I could say make this semi-log. So I could make the y-axis semi-log. Again, I'm going to simply save, and you're going to see the execution and the plot. So you see how that quickly executed upon save, and you can see the output right away. So it helps you test out different code that you can eventually use for your real script, without having to waste time moving it back and forth between RStudio and whatever the AI agent has generated for you. Now, in addition to that, I mentioned about typography. So I can come here right now and say, you know what? I would like the name title. I would like the name title to be concentration time by treatment. So I could do that. Actually, it made that change, but the title that is changing is for this plot. So I could say change the title of this plot, and it just changed that. If I wanted to also change, this, let's say I just want to leave 2 compartment model for the subtitle, then we could have that as well. So it's gonna make that change, and you're gonna see right away in there, the 2 compartment model. Now, you notice that it's not changing the other plot. So it's right now, this typography section is only able to, is basically changing the one plot, the first plot that it's seen in there. Now, so that's part of the further development, is that you should be able to recognize all of the plots and change all of them at the same time as needed. But, that would mean that we have more inputs there, but that's coming soon. Okay, so that's me creating code by myself. Let's say I want AI to create this code. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, AI, create me a box plot. So let's say I wanted to create a box plot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this right now. And I'm going to say, AI, creates me a box plot with 5 treatment groups using lemma distribution. Data points, just random data points. And I'm going to say color it by treatment and include data points on the plot, on the box plot. And once I say that, AI is going to create the whole code by itself. And once it creates, it is going to trigger the execution. And it's going to get executed. And we see that here in the plot. But also notice that once that happened, the typography was automatically updated. So now you have the typography that you can edit here without having to touch the code at all. So this is what AI generated for me. And I could simply say, you know what? I don't want by treatment. Just say box plot your data point. And you see, that made the change there without me having to touch the code, right? I can even add subtitle, right? Let's, well, I don't have to do that right now in the interest of time. But, something else that also I want to be here is now that AI has created this, let's say I want more modifications, right? There are different ways to do it. I just said you don't have to touch the code, right? So you could you could edit typography here, but there's a limitation that typography doesn't have all the stuff you need, right? Necessarily, if you want to change every single aspect of the bothful that you currently see. So the other option is to go back to the code and edit, right? Another option is to go back to AI and say, you know what, make an edit to this code that you already have. And I want it this way and I want it that way. So in this case, let's say I would like to make modifications such as adding notch to this box slot. I could tell AI to do that. And I'm going to quickly demonstrate how I do that. So right now, you notice that it's using a particular theme as well for ggplot. So it's using the DW theme. But I'm gonna tell AI to switch this to classic, and I'm gonna tell it to also add match to it. So again, without having to touch the code, let's come here and let's tell AI what to do. So include matches in the box slots. And use classic ggplot theme with both axis spiders. So, see that? It made the change to the code, as you can see here. You made the changes in the classic, but also it added the match to the box plot. So now you have match equals to true, and that's executed for you as well. And you can see how that transforms the whole plot just the way that you want it on the fly. So as I mentioned, a very great advantage of this app over the ones that are currently available is the user interface allows you to be able to interact with the code in a more efficient way, to be able to execute the code on the fly that the AI produces for you to know whether it's right or not. To make edits to the code and to see it executed, to see that's exactly what you wanted. But in addition to that, it allows not just Pharmacometricians to work with code and with plots and tables. Here, it can also allow non-coders, right, clinicians to take your code, put it in here and say, you know what, I would like the title to be this. I would like the axis title, the axis label to be different, or for this to be, or for this to save values, for example. And they could change all of that. So that's the great thing about this application. But in the end, it goes without saying, right, that you could download the code. So you can easily download the code by clicking on this button. So you can download the code, and clicking on this button allows you to actually download the code, but download the table, download the plot that is generated. The one last thing I should show you, obviously, is the table, right? Because we've viewed plots so far, but we haven't viewed the table. So let's view the data set that is created by AI. And I'm going to use the view function in R, and I'm going to say save. And once I save, it's going to execute that, and you're going to see the table as well. So a lot of great features that I think we offer here, and an advantage here to, again, we've been talking about automating and improving efficiency, this definitely would improve your efficiency because you don't have to go back and forth between before softwares trying to, write your code, modify your code, but also visualize it. This does all of that for you. This allows you to share your code with somebody that can come here and just throw it in, execute the code, make changes, see updates, download both the code and the new plots, and use it for whatever they need to use it for. And that's what this gives to you. Thank you.